Women in red states across the country are now being prosecuted for having miscarriages. I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, especially if you're a guy, but the average is about 15% of all pregnancies end in a miscarriage. It's nothing nefarious. It's just how, certain bodies react to pregnancy. So about 15% out of every 100 pregnancies, 15 of them end in miscarriage. And now if you're in a red state and you have a miscarriage, they have to do an investigation to make sure that you didn't get rid of it illegally, that you didn't try to flush it down the toilet. There are women being prosecuted for this. Here, let's take a look at this. I'm trying to get my computer to work here. Let's go to, women prosecuted for miscarriage is a record level since Roe was overturned. Ohio woman lawsuit highlights rise in prosecutions after pregnancy loss despite legal abortion access. Editor's note, this report examines abortion access 3 years after the U.S. Supreme Court decision struck down the federal right to abortion. The day before Brittany Watts miscarried at home in Warren, Ohio, medical staff at Mercy Hospital, St. Joseph Warren Hospital told Watts that her nearly 21-week-old fetus had no chance of survival, and without treatment, neither would she. Oh, that Watts' attorney and those representing the hospital she is now suing agree. But Watts still ended up in jail 2 years ago after leaving the hospital due to care delays and them returning in need of medical care, but without the fetus because she had a miscarriage. While St. Joseph medical staff were treating Watts, a nurse was on the phone with police speculating that Watts had birthed and then killed a live baby. Oh my God, the nurse said that? Jesus. Man, what a horrible nurse you are. What kind of bedside manner is that? You immediately call the cops on a woman who just had a fucking miscarriage, and now you're calling the cops. Killed a live baby. It was a fetus, but okay. According to federal law, a suit filed earlier this year, the suit claimed the hospital and individual staff were negligent and lied to police, and that the police allegedly violated her civil rights. Rachel Brady, an attorney and partner at Chicago law firm Levy and Levy, said that though the charges in Watts' case, abuse of a corpse, Jesus, after she had flushed the remains, were ultimately dropped and she suffered lasting harms. After inadvertently becoming a public face of pregnancy criminalization in the post-Roe v. Wade era, she is among the first since the Dobbs decision to seek legal recourse for alleged civil rights violations. I want you to hearken back to this. This is Donald Trump running for president in 2016. And he is being interviewed by Chris Matthews. They're going to throw us in Hobbit homes. Anyway, Chris Matthews, you'll remember this one.
What should the law be on abortion?
Well, I have been pro-life.
I know. What should the law? I know your principle. That's a good value, but what should be the law?
This presidential election is going to be very important because when you say what's the law, nobody knows what the law is going to be. It depends on who gets elected because somebody's going to appoint.
At that time, the law was Roe versus Wade. The law was Roe. And by the way, that, I don't want to relitigate this, but that Roe was a compromise. Roe was the compromise, man. You know, the first trimester, you can have an abortion. Second trimester, with the doctor's authorization that it might be threatening your life, that was permitted. And in third trimester, if it was life-threatening, then you could have an abortion. But that is a very rare case. And by the way, if you are a woman who is pregnant for more than 3 months, you want the baby. You don't want a miscarriage. You want that child. Over 90% of abortions that happened before they overturned Roe versus Wade, over 90% of them were done within the first 12 weeks. But anyway,
conservative judges, and somebody's going to appoint liberal judges depending on who wins.
I've never understood the pro-life position.
Well,
I never understood it because I understand principle. It's human life as people see it. But what crime? What crime is it?
Well, it's human life.
No, should the woman be punished for having an abortion?
Look. I would say that it's a very serious problem, and it's a problem that we have to decide on. It's very hard.
But you're for banning it. Are you
going to say, well, wait, are you going to say put them in jail? Is that
well,
the
no, what I'm asking you, because you say you want to ban it. What's that mean?
I am pro-life, yes.
What is ban? How do you ban abortion? How do you actually do it?
Well, you'll go back to a position like they had, where people will perhaps go to illegal places.
Yeah.
But you have to ban it.
Do you believe believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no? As a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
10 cents?
There you go, folks. There has to be some sort of punishment for the woman. And here we are punishing women for having miscarriages. Let me see here. She found herself the unwilling face of this movement, and she has been traumatized by the entire event, Brady said of Watts, who declined an interview. I wouldn't want to interview about this shit either. This is every expectant mother's worst nightmare. And rather than being able to grieve her loss because she miscarried her child that she wanted, she was taken away in handcuffs. She was interrogated in her hospital bed while she was still tethered to IV. And so she wants compensation for her trauma, but most importantly, she wants to make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else. You are arrested, and by the way, this probably is applicable. That woman, Watts, is a woman of color. If she was a rich white lady, this shit was not going to happen to her. Rich white ladies can afford to go to blue states and have an abortion early if she wanted it. But obviously, this woman, Watts, wanted her child. She was 21 weeks pregnant. She wanted her child. And then she has a miscarriage, and then she gets arrested. In the 3 years after Supreme Court Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization's decision struck down the federal right to abortion granted by Roe, women around the country have faced criminal charges and their pregnancies ended in miscarriage or stillbirth. Experts believe their cases have risen since states began banning abortion. Oh, by the way, I did a story a couple weeks ago about a woman who was pregnant. She was having complications. She went to the hospital. She had some blood clots, but they couldn't do anything because she's in a red state, and they could not give her an abortion because this fetus was killing her. So she goes home, and then she gets more complications. She starts bleeding out. She goes back to the hospital, and she slips into a coma. And then she dies. She is declared brain dead, but the hospital keeps her alive because they don't want to incur a lawsuit from the government of the red state that they're in. So they keep her alive so the fetus can continue to grow inside of her. I mean, this is some dark shit, folks. This is really dark. Anyway, moving on. This is, let me see here. Thousands of people are leaving abortion banned states, studies show. Employers in states with bans may face challenges in attracting and retaining workers, especially younger workers, which could impact economic growth. The research from the Georgia Institute of Technology and the College of Worcester wrote in an email to CBS, if the trend continues, states with abortion bans could lose nearly 1% of their population over 5 years. Many states with abortion bans also rank poorly in providing adequate safety nets, according to the Associated Press analysts. Challenges range from accessing food stamps or SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, to shorten to shortages or maternal care. For example, Tennessee ended postpartum Medicaid coverage from 6 months to a year in 2022, benefiting 3,000 more mothers annually. However, the state continues to struggle with enrollment in maternal support programs and lacks paid family leave, per an October study published in the American Journalism of Public Health. Other abortion ban states, such as Alabama, face similar issues. A KFF, I believe that's Kaiser Family survey, found that nearly half of women with young children in abortion ban states reported difficulty accessing services like SNAP, compared with 3 in 10 states with abortion access. People who claim to be pro-life, who advocate for abortion bans, often suggest that these policies are designed to protect children, women, and families. Dr. Nigel Madden, assistant professor of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center and leading author of the study. But lack of adequate safety net shows the hypocrisy of that argument. Yeah, we love women, we love children, we're here to protect you, but if you're hungry or you need health care, we got nothing for you. But we love you and we're going to protect you from trans people, because trans people are out to get you, not the government. Planned Parenthood has more on abortion safety. Anyway, look. It's this is a bad deal all the way around. Red states are going to be losing population to this. They are going to have a hard time filling jobs because people are not going to want to live there, and the people that are living there are going to want to move out. You know, not all of them will, but some of them will. And the ones that end up staying, you know, like this Miss Watts person who ended up getting arrested for having a goddamn miscarriage. You know, that woman is a victim. She's a victim of this whole thing. And we're pretending like none of this stuff is happening. You know, I'm not saying that you and I are, but, you know, Republican politicians are just, it is what it is. We're going to look the other way and we don't really care. And if you need health care, if you need food access, you know, if you need medical care for your baby, we do not care. The only thing they really seem to care about is an unborn fetus, because that is the only type of person that doesn't ask for anything, that doesn't cry, doesn't complain. It is an unborn fetus. You can tell me that you care about the children all day long, but once that child is born and you start denying it health care and denying it food and denying the mother some time off to take care of you for the first couple of weeks or the first 12 weeks or whatever, you do not really care about women and children. You just LARPing that you do so you can go after another marginalized group like trans people, or, you know, go after your favorite boogeyman, which is immigrants. These are bad people, folks, and red states are going to suffer the consequences of this. I mean, it's not like they don't already have income inequality going on in their states. It's not like they don't already have low education rates. It's not like they don't already have a lack of people to work jobs that they need to be done because they're kicking out immigrants. These are bad people because they don't really care about regular, ordinary, everyday working citizens. They just don't care. They only have one concern: tax cuts for the wealthy. And that way they can get huge donations from those billionaire types, and they can continue to run for office and not do you any favors, not do you any good, not do any politicking for you. All they really care about are those rich guys. And if it means that a few people are going to have to go under the wheels of the bus, then I'm sorry, Miss Watts. You're just going to have to go to jail because, you know, abortion bad. Anyway, it's yet again another horrible story. I hope that we learn our lesson pretty soon, but I am not super hopeful about it. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.